Have you ever noticed someone who never texts first? You're always the one reaching out, always the one starting conversations, and you can't help but wonder, do they even care? Here's the thing. Psychology says this behavior isn't what you think. It actually reveals something fascinating about how their mind works. Let's break down the real psychology behind people who never text first. 1. They're not ignoring you, they're protecting you. Here's what most people don't understand. Many people who never initiate conversations aren't being cold, they're being considerate. Psychologists call this hyper-awareness of boundaries. They genuinely believe they're bothering you. They think your life is busy, that you have more important things to do, and that reaching out first would be intrusive. Research on social anxiety shows that people with this mindset often have what's called rejection sensitivity. They've learned, often from past experiences, that reaching out can lead to disappointment. So instead of risking that feeling, they wait. They wait for you to show interest first. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much about not being a burden. Think about it. When you text them, how do they respond? If they're engaged, quick to reply, and genuinely happy to hear from you, that tells you everything. They're not disinterested, they're just wired differently. They don't associate friendship with who texts first. They measure it by the quality of the conversation when it happens. 2. They have an internal world that's already full. Psychology recognizes a personality trait called low need for external stimulation. Some people have rich internal lives. They're deep thinkers. They can spend hours in their own thoughts, working on projects, reading, playing games, or simply processing life. They're not waiting for their phone to light up because their mind is already occupied. This isn't antisocial behavior. It's actually a sign of high self-sufficiency. Research on introversion shows that people with this trait don't feel lonely when alone. They recharge in solitude. They don't need constant interaction to feel connected to the people they care about. So when they don't text first, it's not a statement about you. It's just how their brain operates. The interesting part? These people often make incredible friends when you do connect, because when they're with you, they're fully present. They're not distracted by the need to fill every silence or check their phone. They value depth over frequency. 3. They're testing who's genuine. Now, this one might surprise you. Some people who never text first are actually conducting a quiet social experiment. Psychologists call this passive relationship filtering. They want to see who sticks around without constant validation. Who texts them because they genuinely want to, not because they feel obligated. It's a form of self-protection. They've been burned before by one-sided friendships where they did all the work. They've realized that when they stop initiating, some people disappear completely. And while that hurts, it also reveals the truth. The people who keep texting, who keep showing up, those are the ones who actually care. This behavior is linked to what psychologists call secure attachment with high standards. They're not playing games, they're just being selective about where they invest their emotional energy. They'd rather have 3 real friends than 30 surface-level connections. 4. They don't want to be needy. Here's a big one. In a culture that rewards independence, many people have internalized the belief that needing others makes them weak. Psychologists identify this as counterdependency, a pattern where someone avoids reaching out first because they don't want to appear clingy, desperate, or emotionally dependent. This often stems from childhood attachment styles. Maybe they learned early on that expressing needs led to disappointment. Maybe they were told to figure it out yourself, or stop being so needy. So now, as adults, they've overcorrected. They wait. They let others come to them. Not because they don't need connection, but because they've taught themselves not to show that need. The paradox? These are often the most loyal people once you're in their circle. They value self-reliance so much that when they do lean on you, you know it's real. They don't reach out for attention. They reach out when something genuinely matters. 5. Different doesn't mean defective. Here's what psychology makes crystal clear. Not everyone shows love the same way. There's a concept in relationship research called communication style diversity. Some people are initiators. They thrive on starting conversations, making plans, keeping connections alive. Others are responders. They're present, engaged, and caring, but they don't lead with outreach. Neither style is better or worse. They're just different. And here's the key. If you're an initiator frustrated by a responder, you're judging them by your own standards. You're assuming that because they don't text first, they don't care. But what if their version of caring looks different? What if they show up when you need them, remember the details you share, and give you their full attention when you're together? Research on attachment theory shows that secure relationships aren't about symmetry in every action. They're about mutual respect for different needs. Some people need to initiate to feel connected. Others need space to feel comfortable. The healthiest relationships honor both. So what does this all mean? If someone never texts you first, don't immediately assume they don't care. Look at how they respond when you reach out. Are they warm? Engaged? Do they make time for you when you connect? If yes, then you found someone who just operates differently, and that's okay. But here's the flip side. If they're slow to respond, always vague, never make time to actually see you, that's different. That's not a communication style. That's a lack of effort. And psychology is clear on this. Relationships require mutual investment. If you're always the one initiating and getting nothing back, that's not a friendship. That's you talking to yourself. The healthiest approach? Stop keeping score. Stop measuring who texts first. Instead, measure the quality of the relationship when you do connect. Do you feel valued, heard, appreciated? If yes, then the who texts first question becomes irrelevant. So maybe the real growth isn't changing other people's texting habits. It's developing the discernment to know the difference. It's learning to receive love in the language someone actually speaks, not demanding they speak yours. And it's having the self-respect to walk away when there's no love being spoken at all. If you love understanding the hidden psychology behind everyday behaviors, hit subscribe now. Because on this channel, we don't just wonder why people act the way they do. We decode the minds behind the behavior.